Fox 32 has investigated Henyard's use of a police security detail, taking officers off the street and costing thousands of dollars.
Is there a motion to terminate Keith?
Have you heard about the latest scandal rocking the small Illinois town of Dalton? It's all about their mayor, Tiffany Henyard, and trust us, this one's a real shocker. Imagine this: a small-town mayor living like royalty on the taxpayer's dime, throwing around public funds like they're nothing, and entangled in enough scandals to make even Hollywood celebrities blush. From wild spending sprees to shocking corruption allegations and even the possibility of FBI raids, you won't believe how deep this goes. Buckle up, because things are about to get crazy.
So that's one of the reasons I won't know when we go through our board packets. It's like, some of this stuff, it's like you don't know exactly what it's for, and then when you ask a question, there's no answer.
Here's the scoop: Tiffany Henyard, Dalton's so-called super mayor, has been living it up with luxury vacations, lavish dinners, and first-class flights, all while her town of just over 20,000 residents suffers under massive debt. We're talking a staggering $67,000 in travel expenses in just 5 months. Can you believe it? She and her entourage have been racking up charges at expensive hotels and restaurants, sipping on top-shelf wines, all while the town's finances are draining away.
For a year now, we've been reporting on questionable spending by a South suburban politician named Tiffany Henyard, but we only knew half the story.
When reporters tried to get their hands on the spending records, Henyard's team shut them down, refusing to release any documents even after the state's attorney general ordered compliance. It took a lawsuit from WGN News just to uncover the extent of the financial mess. It's almost like something out of a movie, right? Enter the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation. Now let's talk about that charity. The so-called Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation claims to help those battling cancer, but according to several reports, it looks more like a personal piggy bank for Henyard's extravagant lifestyle. The foundation was set up with a $10,000 donation from Thornton Township the very same day it was chartered. Coincidence? Probably not. And here's the kicker: the charity has been accused of failing to register with the state or file required financial disclosures. So where is all that money really going? Some people are speculating it's funding Henyard's personal expenses.
The way that the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing here.
Remember that infamous $33,000 Amazon shopping spree? Well, that might just be the tip of the iceberg, but hold on, it gets even juicier or worse depending on how you see it. There's also a civil lawsuit hanging over Henyard's head involving allegations of inappropriate conduct during a work trip to Las Vegas. The alleged victim claims she was fired after speaking out, and guess who's defending Henyard in this mess? None other than Bo Brindley, a lawyer known for representing some of the most ethically questionable clients. Talk about a perfect pairing. It's almost like watching a soap opera unfold, except this one is playing out in real life.
Lacey is absolutely not guilty of all 9 counts. I believe he's cooperating. And if you cooperate, you have to admit you're guilty.
Just when you think things can't get any wilder, here comes the bombshell. Rumors are swirling that the FBI is closing in. Sources claim they've begun raiding the offices of Henyard and her closest associates, searching for incriminating evidence. And if these whispers turn out to be true, it's said they've already uncovered enough to potentially lock her up for over 20 years. Yes, you read that correctly, minus 20 years. Can you even imagine?
Hey guys, it's the Super Mayor, Tiffany Henyard, the People's Mayor and People's Super.
Meanwhile, she parades around town with her golden microphone, acting as though everything is perfectly fine. If you're wondering how Henyard managed to get to this point, let's rewind a bit. She wasn't always the infamous figure she's become today. Born and raised in Dalton, she began her political career as a village trustee and quickly climbed the ranks. By 2021, she was elected mayor, and it didn't take long for the power to go straight to her head.
To address the things as the supervisor, there will be no comments, there will be anything, it is me addressing you guys to tell you what's going on.
Critics have labeled her a dictator, accusing her of using her power to intimidate opponents and reward loyal supporters. Some say she governs the town like it's her own personal kingdom, revoking licenses from businesses that don't comply and using local police as her personal security force. It's no surprise the town is drowning in debt, with police cars on the brink of being repossessed.
Employment. I don't believe that is legally correct. That's just not the way municipalities operate.
And here's the kicker: she somehow managed to cling to power despite all the controversy. How, you ask? Well, it seems she has a talent for playing the victim whenever anyone calls her out. She flips the script, accusing critics of attacking a strong black woman. Oh, and let's not overlook her flair for the dramatic. Who could forget the time she showed up at a board meeting dressed as Nino Brown, a fictional drug kingpin, with a DJ blasting Rihanna's "Better Have My Money" in the background?
Everybody, is it the reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for church. That's what it's for.
You honestly can't make this stuff up, but it seems like the tide is finally turning. Residents are fed up and they're making their voices heard. During a recent board meeting, things got so heated that the police had to step in and clear the room. People are demanding answers, transparency, and most importantly, Henyard's resignation. Some have even dubbed her America's worst mayor, ouch, and with the FBI reportedly closing in, it looks like her days in office might be numbered.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
It's not just the people of Dolton who are upset, even her former allies are jumping ship. Thornton Township trustee Carmen Carlisle, once a close confidant, has turned whistleblower accusing Henyard of unethical and predatory behavior. Carlisle revealed Henyard's extravagant spending habits and manipulation of township funds. According to Carlisle, Henyard has been using her position to expand her influence while projecting a false image of success. She claims Henyard retaliates against anyone who dares to speak out, firing employees and bullying others into silence. It's a real mess, folks. And if all that wasn't enough, the financial situation in Dolton is even worse than anyone could have imagined. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, brought in as a special investigator, has revealed shocking numbers. According to Lightfoot's report, Dolton's general fund plummeted from a surplus of $5.61 million in April 2022 to a deficit of $3.65 million by May 2024, and nearly $10 million swing in just over 2 years. Lightfoot's preliminary findings paint a grim picture of mismanagement and waste, from thousands spent on luxury accommodations to tens of thousands more on unaccounted for credit card purchases.
That is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
What's even more damning, the report highlights Henyard's questionable use of village funds for personal expenses. In one shocking instance, she allegedly spent $43,000 in a single day on Amazon. Yes, you read that right, $43,000 spent in just one day on Amazon. Let that sink in for a moment.
Who would make a one day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon? And the main thing is,
And that's just the spending we're aware of. Who knows what else might be buried in the village's financial records. The situation has become so critical that Illinois Comptroller Susana Mendoza has decided to withhold state funds from Dolton until Henyard and her administration can straighten things out. Mendoza pointed to the village's failure to submit the required financial reports as the reason for this drastic measure. According to Mendoza, her office has tried to assist struggling municipalities, but Dolton is a different story altogether. If Mayor Henyard refused uses to follow state law, she said, "My office will use the tools at our disposal to safeguard the interests of Dolton citizens," and that's exactly what's unfolding now. Meanwhile, Henyard's critics are becoming more outspoken with each passing day. At a recent town meeting, one resident didn't hold back, shouting, "You're not accountable. You don't respect people who don't agree with you. You're not qualified for that seat." Another added, "You know what happened in Vegas. You know what happened, and you should be addressing it. It's clear that Dolton's residents have had enough. They're fed up with the scandals, mismanagement, and endless drama. They want a mayor who serves them, not one who's too busy living it up on their dime." And let's not forget about Deputy Police Chief Louis Lacey, one of Henyard's closest allies, who's now facing his own legal troubles. He's been indicted on bankruptcy fraud charges, accused of hiding assets and income to avoid paying creditors. His indictment is part of the same federal investigation that's been closing in on Henyard, and many believe it's only a matter of time before more news drops about him too.
He's not employed by us. So you have got just this gyration.
Lacey's lawyer argues that the charges against her are part of a larger scheme by the government to try to indict the mayor of Dolton. Whether there is any truth to this claim remains to be seen, but the plot thickens. Keith Freeman, Henyard's former top aide and the registered agent of her controversial charity, has also been charged with bankruptcy fraud. Reports say he had been cooperating with the trustees investigating Henyard's spending before things took a turn. It appears that everyone connected to Henyard is either distancing themselves or getting swept up in the scandal. It's like watching a slow-motion train wreck that's impossible to look away from. So what's next for Tiffany Henyard? Can she withstand the growing pressure and hold on to her position? Or are we witnessing the beginning of the end for Dolton's so-called super mayor? With the FBI reportedly closing in and her own allies turning against her, the outlook is grim. As new revelations surface, the calls for her resignation continue to grow louder.
Those officers to be on the street fighting crime, and instead we have several officers that are riding around protecting them.
But here's the real question: will Henyard finally face justice for her alleged wrongdoings, or will she find a way to escape accountability and cling to power? And what about the people of Dalton? Will they ever get the accountability they've been desperately seeking? One thing is certain: this story is far from over. Stay tuned, because the drama is just getting started. Ultimately, Tiffany Henyard's story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the destructive effects of corruption. As the saga unfolds, we're left wondering what it will take to finally bring her down. Will the FBI's investigation be the tipping point, or will Dalton's residents have to take matters into their own hands? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep watching, keep questioning, and keep holding those in power accountable.